Okay, so hope you all had a lovely lunch. We're trying to get back on track now, and we're going to start our next session of talks. And very pleased to introduce Maria and Paul-Louis from Algolia, who will be talking today on the human element, how we collaborate to build trustworthy shopping assistants. Please give them a huge round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me well? It's a pleasure to be back to MICES. I enjoyed a lot of the talks this morning. I'm excited for this afternoon and the barcamp sessions. This is the human element, how we collaborate to build trustworthy AI. My name is Paul-Louis Nech, and I'm a staff machine learning engineer at Algolia. I've been there for 8 years. I've been writing code since 15 years, but I'm focused more on intersection of AI and search, which can mean various features and various types of recommendation engines. But these days, it's mostly Gen AI. We're interested in bringing the intersection of search and Gen AI. And I teach machines so that they serve humans. This is the goal.
Okay, and I'm Maria. I'm also a software engineer at Algolia. I've joined Algolia about 3 years ago, mainly as a front-end engineer, but I'm more and more going into full stack. And my main goal is to help AI speak human fluently. Now, we are from Algolia. We are a company that started mainly as a search company. We're going more and more toward powering discovery with solutions like recommendations, re-ranking, and so on. Till there, we serve millions of users, billions of queries per month. We have thousands of customers in a lot of countries. But now we are moving more and more towards generative AI. We want to answer the question of how we can give our customers both the flexibility of large language models and the precision and reliability of search engines. So that would be our context. We are building AI products. Our quest here today is to prove that a fellowship between AI and UX is the future of building AI products. And our challenge is to navigate this collaboration as we speak different languages, we prioritize different outcomes, and we measure different metrics. So what unites us is our common North Star. We want to build AI-powered products that truly serve people.
And like Maya said, it's a fellowship. And when we started working on this talk, we started thinking what makes us different and what brings us together. And you might know another fellowship of very different people that are brought together by the same goal. To some extent, I think that AI is like magic. And I like to think of a machine learning engineer as a magician, being able to give you things that you could not even dream of. And I like that magic should not show you the ropes. You should not see the tricks. To me, AI should be invisible. I think that the best AI experiences will fade in the background, and you won't even notice that you're using AI. It just works. I believe strongly in this quote by Arthur C. Clarke, that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And I wish your products to look like magic to your users. And so what's the North Star for me of machine learning? I like to think that machine learning is a way to teach machines to serve humans to live better lives. And when I'm thinking what could be our lives with AI, I think they should be enhanced radically. And this is a ideal me, like Gandalf, being able to both create things and to wield magic and to type stuff. And yes, there are 3 hands because I'm at least 50% better thanks to AI. So a quote from Gandalf that might represent my perspective in this debate is that I want that all you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you. I think we're going to go in a fantastic post-scarcity world where we'll all be doing the things we want, not the things we have to.
Now, I'm here to represent Galadriel and guard humans against dark patterns in UX and uncontrolled AI interactions, because I strongly believe that the new technology that is coming is overwhelming. It can move too fast for our slow brains. And the core of our mission is to build trust and ensure one of our deep needs as humans is agency. We need to feel more empowered after each interaction with AI. And in the end, UX's job is not to create pretty AI apps, is to make them accessible and actionable.
Zoom right. Where is the mouse? Here it is.
Okay. So I believe that Galadriel here would tame a little bit AI and make sure that it works for people. It defines human-centered problems and it provides wisdom with the solutions. So a good quote from her is to remind us that it's our responsibility to remember the lessons that we learned in the past while we are going to this new paradigm, to fight for them and to design them in every AI experience. So that would be us today. Now we want to lay down our arguments and you can let us know who you think it's right.
Just keep on. Yeah.
Okay, so introducing our first battle, we'll be discussing the difference between friction and flow and whether AI should pause to ask permissions. A good example is something that we recently shipped, Algolia guides, an AI solution that can generate shopping guides in a matter of seconds, just as illustrated here. You don't know what product you need, you can read a little bit more about it. But the question is, what happens if the AI systems hallucinate product details or don't take into account cultural context? As a user, you can lose trust instantly. So how can we showcase this magic while still being honest about the limitations? So my counterintuitive truth would be that in this case, not all friction is actually bad. Even though usually when building user experiences, we try to remove friction as much as possible. In generative AI, at least for now, we believe that friction is essential and it's foundational for building user trust. Couple of things that can go wrong when you have opaque errors that don't let you know what is wrong or how can you rectify it. All you can do is just press compulsively a try again button and make SREs very unhappy.
Oh yes, that's hammers or servers.
You can also have infinite loading and blank screens while an LLM is thinking and generating a response. And because you don't understand how long the processing time is or how iterative it can be, you can think of it as incompetent or even disengage with it. And of course, the black box nature of it makes us perceive it a little bit as a loss of control. And lastly, not seeing any kind of feedback from a black box system makes us assume that it's perfect. It didn't flag any moderation, it didn't flag any bias, it has no limitation, but in fact, it just might be full of hidden errors. So when you combine all of it together, it's just about a loss of trust when errors are finally surfaced.
Wait, this one does keep that.
Okay. So a couple of quick solutions for that and to mitigate those kinds of risks, just as we can learn from Gemini or our use case or even Claude, we can surface errors, we can show thinking processes, highlight resources, and give it more credibility. Now, another point would be to support friction is that we should prevent over-reliance because we don't want to perpetuate misinformation. After all, AI's flaws become our own flaws. We don't want a lot of cognitive offloading. It just means an erosion of critical thinking and a loss of human expertise. And let's not forget about accountability, because if AI fails, then whose fault is it? And who can we hold accountable? So yeah, generative AI is very powerful. I love to use it as well, but it's not infallible. Its interactions that are way too easy makes us forget to be mindful when accepting its outputs. So we could engage with we can add strategic friction to force a momentary pause and think very deeply before accepting or acting on AI-generated content. And last but not least, we are taking back responsibility. We should remind our users that they are the ones responsible for the output. And a little bit in practice, you can add confirmation dialogues, kind of like the "Are you sure?" pop-ups. You can add disclaimers, like that very, very tiny one there that lets us know that the content is generated. And you can have strategic feedback points, kind of like Netflix's thumbs up, thumbs down feedback. And of course, a little bit of bonus, strategic feedback also means valuable insights that in the end just feed AI systems better and make them better over the long term. So very TLDR, we do not want our users to just have blind faith in what we do. We want them to have a nuanced understanding of the capabilities that we offer to them. So I believe we should design for moments of conscious engagement.
Well, I understand that, and I'm sure it's great. I mean, users need to be in control. But you said you want magic. And I mean, we told to our PM, the AI system will be like magic. It will learn from users and adapt to their individual needs. But to be honest, for magic to work, you need tricks. And in machine learning, the tricks is data. So we need loads of data. We should collect, user interactions, and also want us to have implicit feedback and ratings and free-form reviews. And the UI might get a bit bloated. I mean, your reaction said it all. Maybe 7 feedback options is too much. So what's the right approach there? I think that we need to collect by default. I think that we're not sure yet what we're going to use, so we better collect everything. And there's a question of opt-in versus opt-out. Do we let the user choose, or do we give them by default? Well, if you look at the major AI players, Microsoft, Google, etc., they all turn towards opt-out rather than opt-in. And they have numbers like if you read Nudge by Thaler and Sunstein, research shows that opt-out systems can result in adoption rates over 80%, while opt-in systems have adoption rates around 20%. So it's 80-20, it's better or worse. So if we want magic, we need data. And in search, gosh, we want a lot of magic. Like we're expecting, you saw great talks this morning about it, learning to rank with automatically adaptive model. We're expecting some personalized search. We want the synonyms to adapt and to evolve, maybe be per category. And that's just the beginning. Like there's a lot of magic in this. And that means that magic is never free. There is always a hidden cost, and the cost will be observability of your users. So when I'm asking myself the question, should we collect this? I'm not sure. The answer is yes. By default, we collect everything. We cannot ask users what's their opinion. I think we should not depend on user decisions. To some extent, the fact that you upvote or don't vote Netflix should not matter. What matters is, did you watch that movie or not? And did you complete the movie? That should be enough signal. So I think we should learn from implicit signals. I think we should build continuous feedback loop, and that less friction means more data. So let's see what the audience thinks. Raise your left hand if you think that friction brings confidence, that user trust and reliance is what makes solid product in the long term, and that this is what we should prioritize. And or raise your right hand if you think that flow brings adoption, that we should be extensive by default, that we should turn features on always, gather all feedback, because we don't know yet what we will need at the next quarter. Well, our current position is that truth is in the middle way, and we can now raise both hands. We need feedback, but we don't want to overwhelm the user. We need to make it progressive. When the stakes are low, we don't need that much human control. When we generate the guides, we start by giving you 4 headlines. You don't give us feedback on the headline, you just select one and keep running the guide. However, when the stakes are high, when you're about to publish on your website a new guide, when you're a fancy French brand and you're selling the new collection and the fancy handbags, maybe you want to review that before putting it online. So that was the first battle. Now, second fight. What happens when the feedback points and the moderation outputs block things, block generations, such as the movie Fight Club as a violent content, so OpenAI blocks the generation at all? Why do AI systems that work perfectly in the lab still fail when they're put in front of real users? As the machine learning engineer, I think that we should bring the state of the art, all of it. Because we saw it earlier in the GenAI Hero talk, there are new capabilities weekly, daily even. Like I'm late on Gemini models to test, and I'm not even mentioning O3 High and all of those amazing new things. And I would like to bring this to our systems, to our search recommendations and user experience. There are new multimodalities. I'm not sure if you use this, like just go chat to an LLM and send it an image. I took the picture from MICES website and I asked, where is this place? This appears to be a modern conference room. Yeah, but it goes well. Who of you thinks that Claude could guess the fact that it's at MICES? Who thinks they could guess it's in Berlin? Or in Germany? Or in Western Europe? Okay, you all think Claude sucks. I cannot blame you for that. Well, multimodality is just one thing. Now everybody's building agents, and there's those nice papers on multi-agent swarm, where I'm gonna say, I wanna go to Berlin, find me a flight and a hotel, and two agents collaborate to find the real solution. There's even this new fancy thing called deep research, where you ask a vague question and the agent goes deep, deep, deep until finding understanding. That's something I would love to ship to our users. I would love it. The users would love it too. They expect them. We get user feedback and customer demands. And many, at least those in the Bay Area and Silicon Valley, they want all of this and they want it yesterday. So we're already late to some extent. And that means that we have to cut corners. And I'm sorry for this nice UX, but we cannot afford it. And I see cases where, that means we need to jungle a lot. We saw conversations on learning to rank, and we saw that multi-objective learning to rank is a big thing. I have colleagues working in our search team on multi-signal ranking. And so they're trying to bring to many different users optimization both of revenue, relevance, and user retention. That's a hard problem. And if we get back to Claude's question, well, it went into a big loop of thinking, did a search about fire extinguishers, because in the picture there was a little fire extinguisher, searched about Nordic design, did a few more thinking, and ended up guessing that it might be in Berlin. Not too bad for an LLM. So I think we should bring all those new capabilities in our products to our users. And I think we need to go fast, maybe even to accelerate. We said it earlier, I mean, your talk was great. We cannot play catch up. We need to just use the latest and greatest. So I think we need a laboratory process. Coming from an experimenter background, we need to be able to do research and do it quick, monitor new papers, framework techniques, then experiment and experiment quick. When I see interleaving cuts the time from 6 months to 2 days, I'm like, yes, now we can experiment. And once we experiment, we need the process to have fast releases and iterations so that we can catch a new thing and ship it quick. Now again, this might make some enemies in my colleagues. And I understand yet another OpenAI API. We just got our users to get used to the chat completion. And now we're back to the response API with context keeping of the conversations. I agree, yes, it's annoying. And that's why I think we need to find shortcuts. We need to automate all the things. Is there a way that we can automate research? Is there a way that we can have ongoing experiments? Can we even maybe generate the docs on the API clients so that when we change an API, we don't have a lot of downstream work to do? There is room for improvement. And we have to anyway. I'm not going to go full Rakersville on you, but have you noticed how this is accelerating? Every revolution is coming faster than the previous one. This is exponential, and we don't really grasp exponentials. Rakersville says it. Our intuition about the future is linear, but the reality of information technology is exponential, and the difference is profound. If I take 30 steps linearly, I get at 30. If I take 30 exponential steps, I get to 1 billion, and my human mind just cannot grasp it. And you've seen this acceleration. How many of you have used GenAI today, at least once? At least half of the room. Well, when you look at technological adoption in the US, this is a study by the St. Louis Federal Bank. years since the first mass market product and adoption rate. When you look first at the PC, okay, 5 years after it was the first mass market, we had maybe 20%. And after 10 years, 40% of US households has a PC. Now look at internet. They have two different estimates, but on average, after 10 years, it's more like 60% of the households that were connected. Where is Gen AI at, you might ask? Well, it's only been 2 years, and we're here. I can spot an exponential when I see one.
No, I see where you're coming from, but let's face a fundamental truth. Reality is not state of the art, and it's rarely a clean and perfectly labeled data set. And this is precisely where even the best AI models can struggle and lead to gaps in understanding and a lot of mishaps. For example, when it doesn't take into account cultural subtext or sarcasm or even user intent, is after all Big Bang Theory a racist or misogynistic show? Are YouTube documentaries on modern conflicts violent, or are they actually educational? What happens when IBM Watson Oncology, Watson Health Oncology, AI is trained on US data sets in South Korea? And it's US data set and is deployed in South Korea? Well, you lose $4 billion. And mainly because you're just amplifying data set biases and that collide with reality. So I believe that the truth is more in the middle. To have a better AI, we should keep it in a continuous loop of learning. We should partner with it, teach it about us, and help it correct its mistakes. Because in the end, the UX goal is to design for mental models through progressive disclosure of AI features. So we should also update our own mental models. Because after all, too much magic at once can be a little bit overwhelming. So let's do another quick round of raise your left hand if you're more on the promise side. Speed is a goal. Or maybe the right hand if we should take into account a little bit more context.
And indeed, our position right now might be towards the context a bit more. I mean, new capabilities are cool, but if users don't use it, I didn't ship anything. So the real users are not data sets. And the context of their users is essential for us to validate an innovation as good or not. I want us to move fast, but you're right, we should progressively disclose those new capabilities. And I want us to automate, but maybe we should automate after educate, not before, so that users are not left behind in these new changes. Which brings us to our last battle, transparency versus magic. So we thought that progressive friction is a go-to. We touched on state-of-the-art versus reality and the potential impact of AI mishaps. Now we can talk about how we can encourage users to fix those mistakes. Can we empower them and leave them in control? Should users see how the sausage is made, the AI sausage, or does it break the spell? So of course, I
would say I will lean more towards transparency. And it's not just an ethical nice to have. It is our main tool and probably only tool that we have for maintaining the calibrated trust that we kept talking about. So when I think of transparency, I mainly think about co-creation. And I believe that the best generative AI experiences are not about an AI dictator, but about an AI and a human collaborating, because when large language models generate responses, a human takes them into account, thinks and evaluates them, and the loop continues, continuously learning from one another. So we should design with iterative work in mind, more of a teamwork type of mindset to build long-term trust. Now, in this UX paradigm of generative AI, we are talking also about generative variability, because up until now, one input meant only one output, but with generative AI, one input can mean a lot of outputs, and they can be variable. So we should also be upfront about what an AI cannot do or where its knowledge comes from. Quick examples from in the wild. We, of course, support co-creation through editing. We encourage you to improve the model's output. And then, of course, in all kinds of AI studios, you can tinker around with all the input parameters and co-create with it. So lastly, my goal in UX is to design with imperfection and co-creation in mind, and transition a little bit from AI is a lot of mystery to AI is a partner, because it's not replacing us, or at least not now. It's just augmenting us in the most human way, protecting our values and making us more creative and more capable.
This is something I can surely vote for. I would, however, advocate for something less transparent. I think we want invisible intelligence. The user should be able to focus on the outputs, not on the complexity behind it. I think that when we have too many parameters and sliders and buttons, we get into the paradox of choice. See, I'm using the UX concept, you teach me. I think users don't want to think, and we should not make them think. So Gemini is great because it supports natural language, not parameter sliders. Or at least that's what we said earlier. I mean, AI should adapt to the users implicitly. You know, the goal is to not break the flow. I don't want to think about the parameters as much as I can. And the flow was something you cared about, didn't you? But to be honest, Gemini used to be great. I mean, we had written this talk. We say Gemini is great. It has natural language, not so many parameters. But then they shipped a shitload of models. And now when you look at Gemini, it has natural language input, and it has 4 what's new things fighting for you to look at. And it has a temperature setting, a thinking toggle, a thinking budget toggle, structured output, code execution, function calling, which is not quite like code execution, grounding URL. And that's before you open the advanced settings panel. I think this is taking me away from my task. And as machine learning engineer, I believe we should be able to trust our outputs. To me, the AI output should go live, such as the guides. It should not go in a marketer inbox to wait there until they have time to validate it. When you create the guide, for me, it should mean it's done, not go proofread or AI generation. Make sure it works is not a user problem. I believe it's our job. And when you take other kind of good engineering, you know, why do you trust a rocket to not explode on your house? It's not because it's transparent, it's because it's reliable. Trust doesn't come from explanations. It comes from reliability. If the AI works well and brings value, I think most users will be satisfied, even if they don't understand how it works. And that's why we should map the intent to the action. When you turn on a light switch, you think turn on the light. You don't think push the electrons through the wire so that it goes to a lamp that will, via resistance, make some light. And no amount of explanation by the electrician will make this system better. You just need, when I turn on the light, for the light to turn on. I think our AI products should aspire to the same level of quality so that what we build truly becomes magic. So let's see what the audience think. Raise your left hand if you think we should promote transparency. Focus the user attention on the inputs and design for a certainty. Or raise the right hand, or raise the right hand if you think we should prioritize magic, that the user should think about their job, their outputs, and that we should iterate on the work until we can trust our systems to feel magical.
And as I guess you already thought, of course, we are arriving in the middle again. We believe that you should co-create with the AI. Galadriel was right on this one. But also, we should build with progressive complexity in mind by providing easy, smart default settings and templates that could be easily evolved with advanced customizations. And
so the battles are over.
Yeah. And also focus on why, not how necessarily. So I guess our battles are over and we reached our collective wisdom. I think what we've learned today is that actually no perspective is superior superior to the other one, and nor it should be, because in the end we should prioritize collaboration, as it's not about whose viewpoint is better when building an AI product, but who we actually build it for. So I think the lessons we can take from here is that UX is here to ground machine learning in human realities, and machine learning's job is to push UX beyond its traditional boundaries, because any side alone would be dangerous.
Yes, like if you listen only to me, do not tempt me, Frodo. I will ship all those new capabilities with no concern for the users.
And on the other hand, I will look into my magic mirror and think of all the UX issues that we encountered before, that we are currently encountering, and that we may or even never may encounter. Because in the end, we are not actually competing.
We are completing each other. Machine learning provides the intelligence.
And UX provides the wisdom to make it meaningful to humans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Who doesn't like a Lord of the Rings reference? We may have time for a couple of questions.
Yeah, thanks for presentation. I was just curious, like I think the ideal UI is just one button, right? And but what else? How with UX, right? How you can go beyond this, right? So you have, for example, Super AI, where you can type your requests. You don't need UX, but do you see like opportunities still for UX with AI appearance?
I mean, as the machine learning guy, I would say if we make perfect systems, no, we don't need any more UX design, but you might say that they are even more important. What's the point of UX?
I'm still hanging on the idea of keeping humans in control for now, and having them, like we gave the turbo examples of inventing legal cases when you're going into an actual trial. That could be a problem. You have to find a way to control that. Maybe when we can trust, even like in very science fiction scenarios, when we can trust what we are building enough, then yeah, button would be the solution.
And I think even in the case where AI becomes perfect and we can be augmented humans, there is still a room for experience design. And this is what UX is about, is what kind of experience you provide. Unless we go very automated and there's not even a question, you'll always be thinking, is that experience better than this? And UX will be important in that.
And even now with home assistants, we have the example of voice interfaces, because sometimes Alexa or Google can be terrible of interpreting what we want actually, and you end up overriding them from the app anyway. So even in voice interfaces, it's still UX at play.
Do we have another question?
Thank you for your talk. We now saw a lot of these AI tools that are mostly chatbots. Have you made experiences where there's other ways to integrate AI other than a chatbot?
Yes, please. So this is actually something that we have to say often and repeat often to our customers, to our colleagues, to our executives, that the value of language model and natural language technology is not just chat. So to give you an example, we have today a RAG API that you can use at Algolia to connect your search engine and create experiences on top of it. And everybody thinks chatbot. I'm going to ask, what is the right movie to watch tonight? That's nice, but I can see other opportunities. If you're building a Netflix-like interface and you have a carousel which are top movies maybe recommended for you, you could use LLM technologies to generate a header that is personalized, 10 words, why you should watch that movie. It doesn't need to be always conversational interactions, but I think language understanding can create interesting dynamic experiences. I think the world of applications and websites in 10, 20, 100 years is going to be wildly different, not because there's going to be a chat box everywhere, but rather because none of you will see the same screen. It's already the case. Like if I show you my Netflix homepage, it's probably very different from yours or from yours. But I think this will be the default of the web and app experience more than the exception. And it doesn't need to be a chat.
Okay, I think we're going to have to leave it there. Please thank Paul-Louis and Maria.